Hi everyone, Kieran Brown here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how you can lose 2 to 4 pounds per week in 9 steps. I'm going to take you through them all. So when I first wanted to lean down, I was doing my first ever cut in January 2023. One of the huge things that helped me was to fast for the first 4 hours of the day. And I'd never really tried like intermittent fasting before, and it was actually really easy with the tips that I'll talk about. And you know, if you're used to having breakfast every morning as soon as you get up, then this might take a few days to adjust to, but eventually being able to fast for 4 hours after you wake up actually becomes quite straightforward. And I think the main reason for doing this is to basically save calories for later in the day. And I found from experience that whether I have breakfast or not, I'm actually just as hungry when it comes to lunchtime. So why not save those calories for later on in the day and have a big meal, like a big dinner? So the way I made it really easy was to use caffeine and sparkling water. So I'd have at least 750 ml of sparkling water to a liter or more. And also caffeine helps to blunt hunger a lot and gives you that initial energy that you don't otherwise get from the food. So if you do those two things, then fasting for the first 4 hours of the day will make it super easy. And then you want to break your fast with a meal like I have on screen. This is like the exact like lunch, like breakfast slash lunch that I had. I'd have this around 11. So I used to wake up at 7 when I was working at this particular place. And if you struggle to remember, then you can set alarms for like a feeding window. The initial 4 hours is more important than the last 4 hours. You don't need to necessarily stop eating like 4 hours before you go to sleep, like the classic 16-8. Like I didn't really do that, to be honest. It's just the first 4 hours, which is the most important. Second is to try and eat like a dog. I've spoken about this before, and no, it doesn't mean that you eat dog food or that you get on all fours and don't use any cutlery. It just means eating the same things every day. And this was huge for me. Whenever I thought of like diet plans in the past, I'd always think about this picture on the right and how you'd have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and a snack every day, and it would just be something different each day. And as someone who doesn't particularly like cooking, that just looks like an absolute nightmare to me. The weekly shop will just have so many ingredients, and it just seems like such faff. And if you are a big foodie, then and you're happy to make so many different meals, then you can. But for me, and maybe for you, if you're watching this, you might be similar to me. You just sort of want to plug and play, meals that fit your macros, and you can just have like every day. And even if it's just for the first like 12 weeks, like leaning down, it will be a massive help, and it really helped me. Just like meal prepping, just making 2 or 3 meals at a time. It saves a lot of cooking, a lot of washing up, and it just makes things so much easier. So yeah, tip 2 is have the same meals every single day and make sure they fit your macros. Third is not drinking calories. So we'll probably have a calorie deficit of around 3 to 500. I've had it times in the past where I've been on a cut, and there's a message in the group chat saying, go to the pub and have a beer, go for a drink, and you can have a perfect day of eating up until that point. You could have trained and everything is going well, and then one or two soft drinks or alcoholic drinks just completely ruins all the good work for that day. and it means you stay in the same place you were the day before. And it's such an easy win every day to just not drink any calories, just have water, even if it's just for this initial 12-week fat loss phase. It will make such a huge difference. Next is trying to minimize the amount of sugar you eat. A lot of people advocate for the if it fits your macros and calories in, calories out, and a calorie is a calorie. Um, well, that might not be the case, and this is something I've been learning about recently, is the role of sugar and in spiking insulin. And insulin blocks the hypothalamus from seeing leptin, which is the satiety signal. So insulin is the fat storing hormone. So when insulin is up, your body is ready to store fat, and it gets spiked from carbohydrates and sugar, and that blocks your hypothalamus seeing the leptin. And then when leptin is down, your body is in starvation mode, and it's signaling to your brain that you need more and more food, even though you actually don't. So if you can reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, reduce the amount of times throughout the day that your insulin is spiked, then you'll feel more full and you won't have as many cravings either. And this can really help with the calorie deficit. And like one change I'd make on this breakfast here, which I was having, I would now take out that Trek bar. It was like 19 grams of protein, and it was really tasty. It was like an OT, like chocolatey bar, and it was only a couple hundred calories, but it was sweet. It was nice. It was chocolate, so obviously had a lot of sugar in, and that would have spiked my insulin, which would have made fat loss more difficult. So it would be better to get the protein from meat, for example, or even just like protein powder. Next, 10K steps. I'm sure you've heard about this before. It takes about an hour if you account for the steps that you do in your day anyway. Like you'll probably do a few thousand, even if you have like a sedentary job. If your scale weight is going down, this is the only cardio you need. If you plateau, you can start to increase the cardio, and that means doing your 10K steps and more low impact cardio, maybe like incline walking, Stairmaster, that sort of thing. You can literally start with like 20 minutes, and then once you hit a plateau again, then you can increase it and increase it. And in my opinion, I would avoid high intensity exercise like sprinting, hit, battle ropes, etc. They're just quite taxing on the body, and I think they make you more hungry, and they just give you more wear and tear, more fatigue. It might impact your gym sessions. So personally, I avoided them when leaning down. Just stick to walking. Next is sleep. Unfortunately, this picture here is not from my Whoop, but as I don't have it anymore, but I did have it for a year. And this is just one I found on Google. And this is actually an incredible sleep. I'm starting to realize 6 hours 46 of sleep, and well, 3 hours 54 of deep sleep there. So yeah, the other day, my sleeping pattern has been pretty good at the moment. And I have one day where I stayed up late. I went to watch my football team play, and it was like an 8 o'clock kickoff in the evening. And that's usually when I go sleep. So this game didn't finish until 10. I probably didn't get home till like 11. And then probably fell asleep around, yeah, like half 11, 12. But I woke up at the same time. So instead of having the usual like 7 or 8 hours, I probably only had 5 or 6. And I really noticed a difference when I woke up. Like my willpower was definitely down. And this can lead to poor decisions with food. And it will also affect your gym sessions. Um, Honestly, when I was cutting down, if I had a bad sleep, the next weigh-in would never be a good one. I'd always just get way more cravings and want to overeat. So sleep is a huge one. I've made a full guide on how to improve your sleep. It's on my channel if you want to watch it. Next is training 3 times a week, at least, strength training. And what really helped me was just to go at the same times every week. So this was like my schedule. I'd be at work 8:30 till 4:30, and then I'd just go gym like straight after. At this point in time, I was not really a morning person. This was last year. But if you are a morning person, then you can go before work instead. Or if you're really tight for time in the week, then you can just do one session Monday to Friday and then go on Saturday, Sunday, for example. But just fit the sessions around your schedule and make it easy to stick to. Next is reducing alcohol intake and eating out. I think this goes without saying, to be honest. Restaurant meals in particular can have incredibly high calories. I found this quite comical post on Reddit in a subreddit called Calorie Count. And it was this basically a small bowl of spinach, which ended up being 650 calories, just because of all the butter and oils that they've likely added to it to actually make it taste edible. And these things happen. This happens all the time. Restaurant meals, like there'll be heaps of sugar and oils and butters, stuff like that, which just really bump up the calories. And a meal which you could make yourself, that would be like 600 calories, in a restaurant could easily be double that, and that can wipe out your deficit. So if you can, for like 12 weeks, just try and minimize restaurant meals as much as possible. And if you know you've got one coming up, then plan around it. Take a few calories off the day before and train if you can on that day to make use of the extra calories. And lastly is weighing yourself every day. What I've learned recently is that you want to take emotions out of it as much as possible and rely more on the data. If you're in your range, for example, you want to lose 1% of body weight per week. That's a good goal. If you're hitting that week after week, then there's no need to change anything. And you might have like a bad weigh-in and want to throw the whole plan out and change everything, whereas it might just been an anomaly, and you want to not make any rash decisions without taking like at least a week's worth of data into account. And if you weigh yourself once a week, it's just not enough data, and you can end up making bad decisions. You might think you had a bad week just because you had one bad weigh-in, but in fact, if you zoom out and look at the whole week or even a few weeks, you might notice that actually you're in the range, you're making progress, and nothing needs to change. So in summary, the 9 tips: fast for the first 4 hours of the day. Make it easier by having sparkling water or still water if you prefer. I think that sparkling water is more satiating, more filling, but that's just personal preference. And also have caffeine, anywhere from like 50 to 400 milligrams a day, and try not to have it before 10 hours before you go to sleep, else it might affect your sleep. Eat like a dog. Create 1 day's worth of meals that fit your macros, and just eat the same thing every day. Don't drink calories, just have water. The less sugar, the better, because you'll feel full more often and you won't get as many cravings. 10K steps takes about an hour. Do the same routes every day. And if you hit a plateau, then you can increase the cardio. Sleep goes without saying, really. I've got a whole nother video on that. Strength train at least 3 times a week. Go at the same times every week. Fit it around your work schedule and make it enjoyable as well. Just find a strength training program online. I like the Kino Body ones. They're 3 times a week, so check those out. cut out alcohol and refrain from eating out of restaurants as much as possible. It's just needless calories, and it won't make you any more it won't give you any more nutrition. It won't make you feel more satiated. If anything, it will do the opposite. And weigh yourself daily. Make decisions based on data and not emotions. So if you want some one-to-one coaching, click the first link in the description and I can walk you through the exact step-by-step to lean down in the first 12-week phase, get you lean, get you seeing abs. Yeah, that's everything for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.